Let's talk about Crown Jewel. Huge event over the weekend on Saturday from Perth, Australia. It was an early one. I hope you set your alarm, but if you're like me, you just watch the replay, and that's okay too. Let's talk about the main event. Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. As I also said at the top of this show, an event where both Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns gets pinned. I mean, come on. What an incredible show. Now, of course, the Vision imploding on Monday Night Raw. If you're watching this individual clip, you can go check out in our archives the clip of me talking about that if you want to hear more about that. But I'm going to try to focus on just the match right now for the Men's Crown Jewel Championship. Seth Rollins, who I originally picked when this match was first announced, Seth Rollins was my pick to win this thing. He needed the win over Cody. He was 0-3 against Cody Rhodes in his career since Cody came back at WrestleMania 38. Seth needed this win. If Seth was going to be considered a main event player, a face of the franchise, as you might say, he had to get a win over Cody Rhodes, especially like Paul Heyman said in their backstage interaction, to make sure he's not a second-rate champion, to make that championship feel less than, then he needed to go beat Cody Rhodes. And that is exactly what he did. And what a match they put on. It was going to be hard to follow that John Cena AJ Styles match. And, buddy, they did in an incredible way. You knew these two were going to tear the house down. You knew these two were going to give us a match of the year candidate, and they actually did. I mean, my goodness. Seth Rollins pulling out a coast to coast. I know he got hurt on it, and you could tell he was immediately favoring his arm for the rest of the match. But Rollins pulling out a coast to coast. Cody Rhodes, an avalanche crossroads. I hate that wasn't the finish. It's the first time we've really ever seen that move, and it wasn't the finish. So, but ultimately, I said on the preview show that I thought Cody Rhodes would win because I thought the more compelling story would be Seth Rollins losing. Well, it turns out it's a pretty compelling story over on Monday Night Raw. You can go back in the archives, check out our reaction to the Vision imploding. But nonetheless, Seth Rollins wins. He's the Men's Crown Jewel champion for this year. What an incredible match that was. And what an incredible reaction. Listen, the crowd was hot all night long for Crown Jewel, but what a reaction they gave Seth Rollins. Singing his song, chanting his name, all of the things. Like you would have thought this was a babyface versus babyface match. And that continued all the way through Monday Night Raw. And the promo that Rollins cut at the beginning, the crowd was right there with him. Incredible how much they love Seth Rollins. City Kitty Live in the chat with us. Thank you. That was an amazing move from Cody. It was. That avalanche crossroads was wild. I mean, they pulled that one right out of WWE 2K25. It was incredible. It really was. And then Rollins hitting a Spanish fly. We haven't seen Rollins hit a Spanish fly. These guys just pulling out crazy moves. It was incredible. Really was an incredible match. Well, let's talk about the other incredible match from Crown Jewel. The love letter to wrestling that AJ Styles and John Cena penned at Crown Jewel was just unbelievable. I mean, obviously, they're giving tribute to all of some of Cena's, past opponents, even some of AJ's past opponents. I'm going to try to bring up, here we go. I got the list here on my phone. A skull-crushing finale. Of course, The Miz, Rusev's Accolade, Chris Jericho's Walls of Jericho, a Sister Abigail, the Hangman DDT and RKO of Randy Orton, a Kane chokeslam, a Undertaker tombstone, attempted a 619, attempted a pedigree, a Scorpion death drop of Sting, Samoa Joe's Coquina clutch, Christopher Daniels' Angel's Wings, a dead eye from Frankie Kazarian, Sweet Chin Music from Shawn Michaels. All of those moves happened in that match. And then, of course, it made me think of the Randy Orton and Edge match that we got in 2020 at Backlash, dubbed the greatest wrestling match ever. And it would have gotten the same reaction as this had we had crowds, but of course it was in 2020. So we did not have crowds for that. But just an unbelievable match between these two guys. AJ said it on the Crown Jewel preview podcast that Sam Roberts and Megan Morant and Big E did with him. He said, it's going to be something special. It's going to be something people remember, and people remembered it for sure. People also remembered AJ's gear. AJ pulling out his gear that he was wearing when he was featured on the cover of Pro Wrestling Illustrated with John Cena, and the year escapes me that it was. I'm sure it was around 05, 06, something like that. But AJ wearing that gear was really, really cool. And then John Cena with the introduction for AJ that he wrote, that apparently AJ had no idea was coming. And all that was just so cool. This match was exactly what it needed to be, and it was awesome. It was so, so cool. All right. Swig a Mountain Dew for the working man here as we keep trucking along. I mentioned Roman Reigns getting pinned at this pay-per-view. Only the second time that Roman Reigns has been pinned in about 5 years. Here we go. Here's some chats real quick before I move on to Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns. Easily Cena's best match of the year. Better than the Cody match at SummerSlam, Andy? Interesting. Okay. I like it. I don't want to say that it was better. It's a toss-up between those two. Vacation Aaron back with us in the chat. Shocking. It was shocking. I assume you're talking about the end to Monday Raw, not Monday Night Raw, Monday Raw with the Vision. Yes, it was very shocking. I spent the first 15 minutes of the show talking about that, Aaron, so rewind the show once we get done and you can go check that out. But yes, it was shocking that they turned on Seth Rollins. It was shocking that Seth Rollins won the Men's Crown Jewel Championship. And it was shocking that Bronson Reed became the second man in 5 years to pin Roman Reigns in a singles match. Oh, Aaron was talking about the horrid officiating in Monday Night Football, but the ending was, okay, fine. Didn't your Bears win, though? Or are they winning? I got to check the score real quick. So, since we're live in the chat, we're just having a good time here. I'm not even watching the game. I'm trying to do a show. I'm trying to be professional, Aaron. Do a show. Oh, they're not winning anymore. Sorry. Sorry to rub that in. Anyway, I picked them to win, so hopefully they win. Anyway, Bronson Reed, back to the matter at hand. Bronson Reed pins Roman Reigns. And sorry for your loss there, Aaron. Sorry. Bronson Reed, I talked about it just a little bit ago. The Vision was set up to make Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, really just for Braun Breaker, but Bronson Reed has really emerged, especially because he laid out Seth Rollins before they became the Vision, before he went on the shelf. And now he pins Roman Reigns. He's beaten Randy Orton. Bronson Reed is a big deal. And not too many people pin Roman Reigns. And I know people technically don't have creative control in their contracts anymore. We're not Rock and Hogan and all that kind of stuff. But you better believe that Roman Reigns has a little bit of say-so in who pins his shoulders to the mat. And Bronson Reed gets to do it. Lots of people believe in Bronson Reed. I will tell you that right now. And then the aftermath of that match, the Usos trying to help out Roman and Roman getting upset with him. I'm interested. They sort of touched on this on Monday Night Raw with Jay and Jimmy talking about Roman doing his own thing. And Jay and Jimmy kind of butting heads over this whole thing, and, you know, Roman not changing and them trying to help him out and all this kind of stuff. I'm not sure where this is going to go. You know, it's a really interesting story with how Roman was trying to help Jay and help him to grab the spotlight and to be able to stay there. And it's a lot harder to stay in the spotlight than to get there, and trying to teach him those lessons and all that. And Roman telling them at the end of this match, hey, nobody thinks that I can do this on my own. Everybody thinks that I just need help. Excuse me. Everybody thinks that he needs help, and he's trying to do it on his own. Andy says, I think Bronson Reed is the only person to pin both Roman Reigns and Okada. I'm sure he is. Because, Andy, I don't know too many people that have wrestled both Roman Reigns and Okada other than Chris Jericho. Did Jericho pin Okada? That's something for you to look up there, Andy, in the chat if you're hanging with us. Because I know he pinned Roman Reigns. That was, of course, before Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, but still, he pinned him. City Kitty dropping comments. Roman loves the Usos, but doesn't want to see them again until Christmas. Well, that just means we probably won't see Roman Reigns until Christmas, City Kitty, which is not good. We need Roman Reigns on our television. Aaron says Eugene has pinned them both. Ha! I'll call up Jared Justice right now and tell him about Eugene pinning both Roman Reigns and Okada. Hey, Eugene's surefire Hall of Famer if that's the case. Shout out Nick Dinsmore on that one. All right. Let's move on. Kabuki Warriors falling in defeat to Rhea. I almost said Rio. Not Rio. Rio's in AEW. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Here we go. Mox, Danielson, and a couple others have come through Japan and WWE, I would assume. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Andy talking about, again, who has pinned Roman and Okada. Has Danielson pinned Roman, though? Did Mox ever pin Roman? Interesting. I don't know. In any event, Rhea Ripley, the hometown girl, and Io Sky getting the win over the Kabuki Warriors. A really fun match. Honestly, I really enjoyed this one. What I was really happy about, I thought a really big detail in this match that probably not a lot of people got. Rhea Ripley being the hometown hero. You would think she's going to be the one to get the pin. She's going to, be the one to celebrate, whatever. I thought it was really important that Io Sky got the pin in this match because this story is more about the conflict between the Kabuki Warriors and Io. Rhea, I feel like, is just catching strays and is just there because she's friends with Io. So Io getting the pin spoke volumes to me. I felt like that was really, really important for her to get this pin to further this story. Because I'm not sure how much, I know Rhea wrestled Kairi Sane on Raw, but I don't know how much Rhea is going to be involved with this story going forward. So, Io getting the pin was a really big deal. Again, a really fun match. I thought it was really, really good. Stephanie Vaquer getting the win over Tiffany Stratton was a bit shocking to me, honestly. Stephanie Vaquer barely being in WWE on the main roster for, it hasn't been that long. And she's already Women's World Champion, and she's the Crown Jewel Champion. I don't know if it speaks more volumes to how confident they are with Stephanie Vaquer, or if we're losing it with Tiffany Stratton. Like, I don't know what's next for Tiffany Stratton. She's beaten Jade Cargill a couple times. How many more times can she wrestle Nia Jax? I'm telling you, the money match right now, let's take the title off of Tiffany. while she's still popular and give her time to chase the title. I'm telling you, picture it. Tiffany Stratton, Chelsea Green. It would be incredible. Maybe not incredible for Tiffany, because I feel like Chelsea would just tear her up on the mic. Nonetheless, it would be a great feud. Chelsea Green being the next women's champion would be absolutely incredible. That's what should be next for Tiffany Stratton. But all that to say, I thought this match honestly was the worst match of the night. It was good, but it just, I don't know. It didn't feel like it went anywhere. It was just kind of there. I'm not sure if it was a chemistry issue or what, but it was just kind of there. Wasn't a huge fan of it. But I was a huge fan of Crown Jewel. I thought the whole show was really, really good. I think ESPN gave it a B, but I'm not worried about their grades. What do they know? It's fine. But I thought it was a really good show. I really did. Again, a show where both Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns gets pinned. It's a good show.